Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. So I got a question from someone. I got this email. It's not too long, but it is from, I'm not going to say his name because it's somewhat of a unique name. But his subject line of this email was emotionally fucked due to family situation. And I think a lot of us can relate to this. As I've been talking to more and more people, I've been realizing how many people are fucked up by their parents. It's so painful. I mean, this was me for a while too, and it's so painful, right? Because a lot of adult men, like in their 30s and 40s or 50s, even have issues, or they never resolve issues in their entire life. Especially younger guys, especially Indian. If you come from an Indian or an Asian culture, not trying to pick on you, but you guys know this. You guys know that there are definitely some strong issues there because things are different there. In fact, when I was in China, I found out that it is actually against the law that your parents can actually sue you if you're in China, in Chinese court, if you do not take care of them when they're older. It's interesting. It's a different cultural thing, right? But this shit affects us today, like especially though. I mean, if you're living in China, that's different. But if you're here in the U.S., right, and you come from India, you come from China, you got to deal with this, and it doesn't. I don't know. There's a real problem in the individual. Like Western culture is very much individualistic, and Eastern culture is very much the community, the family. It's very much our fates are bound together. I definitely, it's funny because I definitely Eastern philosophy mindset. I believe a lot of that, and I see a huge value in it. But the part where me and the Tao, maybe you could say, or whatever, the Eastern philosophers, draw swords is on the personal freedom. I'm very big on personal freedom. Okay, so you can check out my personal freedom playlist, how to get freedom. But I'm very big on that. I'm very big on no debts, no obligations to people. I'm very big on, I do things out of my heart, by my own power and by my own will. Not out of obligation, not out of guilt, right? I've done plenty of videos on this. They're probably in that family playlist. So with that said, let's get into the email. So we'll call him A. So A says, "Hey John, I'll try to keep this question as short as possible. It is related to my dad not supporting me financially as I go through my education. I am Indian, and in our culture, parents fully support their children until they have graduated from university and have a full-time job. My father, although very capable of, stopped supporting me financially after my first year of university. I know in North American culture, it is usually not expected of parents to support their kids financially after 18 years of age." Did you guys hear that? In North American culture, it's usually not. Your parents don't usually support you after 18, right? So if you're 30 right now, okay, and you're living with your fucking parents, and they're supporting you right now, even this guy knows this, and he's from India. So what the fuck, dude? Seriously, like, this is not... And if you're supporting someone who is over the age of 18, and you really need to, like, understand, like, why are you doing this? You're not helping them, okay? So I'm not gonna... I'll get into this more, okay? I promise you I will come back to this. I know you're pissed right now. You're getting ready to light an effigy of me on fire. It's okay. It's all right. Let's take a deep breath. Let's finish the email, and we'll come back. We'll address this. Okay. All right. He goes on to say, "But I was not eligible for student loans in Canada as a result of my dad's high income." Oh, he screwed you there, didn't he? "This shows that my country expects my family to contribute to my education. I'm not entirely sure. Yes. Okay. Yes. But that's messed up. Okay. So I have been working through the past couple of years to pay off my tuition and living expenses. This has affected my life more than it should. I get very depressed whenever someone brings up this topic, or whenever someone tells me that they had parents helping them throughout university. Essentially, I get triggered." Good verbiage. You understand yourself a little bit here. This is good. You get triggered, and this is the proper use of the word triggered, by the way, which is when some latent hurt or emotion surfaces when something happens that actually does disturb you. So good self-psychology. Okay. "Can you please give me some tips on how to cope with this? The problem is largely in my mind, as I have enough money for food and other necessities, but I just can't help but always ponder why my dad acts the way he does. I have asked many times why he is doing this to me, but never get a proper response. I always go through cycles of feeling hatred towards him and then guilt for feeling such hatred. I can't seem to control my emotions. I'm a fucking mess. Feel free to tell this video whatever you want. It doesn't have to be emotionally fucked due to family situation." Well, I don't know. We'll see what we title this. But, okay. So, here's the thing. First of all, okay, you can't control or compel anyone else's actions in life. So, normally when I'm giving this advice, I'm doing it on the other side, right? Normally I'm saying, don't let your parents guilt you or control your life, okay? Because you don't owe them shit just because they brought you into the world. Every mammal takes care of their young, okay? That's virtually every mammal. Maybe some leave them to fend for themselves, but this is expected, okay? So normally I'm on the other side of this. But here, actually, you've got the problem to some degree because you are putting expectations on your parents. You think that your dad should pay for your education. Okay, if you have this mentality, I know that you're going to know what I'm talking about here, and you don't recognize this because you're a self-sufficient, capable person, but you've got a little bit of this victim mindset still hanging on. I've got a victim mindset playlist. This might help you. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's not like, I don't think you don't come across to me as having a very entitled attitude and all of this stuff, but you still have the victim mindset because you still believe, and here's why I know this to be true, okay? I know that you're denying it. It's fine. It's okay. I understand. But because you said to your dad, or essentially, why is he doing this to me? No one's doing shit to you. You do shit to yourself, okay? When you have the mindset that people are doing shit to you, you're giving your power and you're giving your responsibility to them. Your dad can't do shit to you. People can't do shit to you. People don't make you angry. They don't hurt you. They don't, right? Unless they're actually causing you physical harm. And even in that case, when someone causes you physical harm, they didn't hurt you. They did something to your body. You interpreted what happened to your body as hurt, not just pain, right? They inflicted pain on you, physical pain, but you made it into emotional pain. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know that this seems a little bit extreme, but I'm going to be extreme here because I want you to really, really understand that you do not have control over your parents. You don't have control over another person. You can't make them do something. You can't obligate them to do something. You can't make them feel guilty for doing something, okay? But I want to help you. I'm not here to attack you, my friend. I'm not. I just want you to recognize that you need to show to your parents and other people in your life the same kind of civility, the same kind of freedom that you would want them to show to you. What do I mean by this? What I mean by this is you wouldn't want to be obligated, right? And there's probably some dual obligation here, right? If you come from an Indian family, I happen to know, like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm not trying to be racist or sexist or anything like that, but I just happen to know that culturally, okay, that there's a lot of pressure on Indian and Eastern cultures for children to do what their parents want, right? I mean, in a lot of India, it's still arranged marriages or pressure to marry within the religion or within the caste, the system, right? I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I hear enough of this. I have enough Indian friends. I know about this enough to know that there are huge social pressures in terms of this, right? And in a lot of Eastern culture, it's expected that the children will take care of the parents. And to some degree, that's in North American culture, but it doesn't make it right, okay? Because we are free human beings, and no human being should be obligated to another human being for any reason. It should be voluntary, right? Except for the fact that you owe someone actually something because you have pledged something. You have said, if you have entered into a contract with me, right? If we have said, I will give I will do this work for you, and you will give me X amount of money, or I will give you this car, and you will give me dollars for this, or I will give you dollars for some service or something. If we've entered into a contract, then there is an obligation, right? There's an obligation on both parts, but it's mutually agreed. But anytime there is an implicit contract where you haven't pledged yourself, right, to anything, then that's bullshit, right? That we don't have the right to rope people into contracts to make them do things via guilt or obligation or whatever it is without their consent, without them explicitly agreeing to that, right? That exchange of services, right? It doesn't hold up in law, right? If you think about it, it's called, what's it called? Of sound mind, right? Someone has to be of sound mind. They have to willingly enter into it. One of the tests of contractual law, again, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know, I'm just giving you my lay person's opinion of this, but one of the tenets of contractual law is that there has to be a meeting of the minds. And the person they have to actually have their mental faculty. They have to agree to the thing. You can't trick them and have them sign a paper. You see what I'm saying? So Anyway, with that said, here's the thing. The biggest healing and the biggest cure for you is going to come from you realizing that you are actually putting your father under an obligation, okay, that to do something. And maybe he's feeling that pressure. But and the thing is that when you realize that you would not want to be put under the same obligation, right, that you believe that people should be free and that they shouldn't do things out of guilt or compulsion or because society says that they should, but because they want to do things, then you will be a lot more free, okay? That when you realize that you would want to have that freedom for yourself, then you will give your father that freedom. Now, with that said, there's another issue to deal with here, right? This is the bigger issue. This is what is tearing you up about this? You're hurt. You're hurt. Why are you hurt? You're hurt because you feel like your father doesn't love you because he's not doing this. You don't understand why. This is why you say, why is he doing this to me? You don't need your father to love you. No, let me put it this way. You don't need your father to love you. It's good if he does, okay? And he probably does. Honestly, he probably does in his way, right? People aren't perfect. Fathers aren't perfect, okay? But you don't need it. It's nice. It's great. But you don't need any... See, the thing is, and there's certainly never in your life are you ever going to find someone that is going to love you the way that you need to be loved. Because no one is going to accept you unconditionally. The only people, I did this video on You're Always Going to Be Alone. I suggest you watch that video. But in that video, I talked about this idea and I said that basically the only person who is ever going to love you unconditionally, like you want to be loved, is going to be you, and it's going to be God, or if you believe in God, or your creator, the universe, whatever you want to say, the higher being, the higher power that has caused all of this to come, whether you localize it to a single entity or you make it into the whole, the one that is all of us. However you classify that, I don't care at this point, okay? But that's it. That's the truth. That's a secret, okay? That is the only person who's ever... Most of us are fucked up in some way because of our parents, because we didn't know that they truly loved us, because they didn't have the perfect kind of love that we want. There's no, and so we're looking for our better half. We're looking for our missing pieces. We're trying to find in the world that validation of love that says that we are good enough and that no matter what we do, we will be loved. But it's not true. It doesn't happen. No one is capable of that in this world, right? Every single time you go and you look for that and you think that you're going to find it, a lot of you guys with this girl, and I'm going to actually do a video on this because someone said, oh, well, when this finally happens, then I'll go cry in her lap. And I'm like, no, dude, no, it's not going to happen that way. It doesn't work that way. So A, you're out there and you're looking for this and you're expecting your dad to fulfill this big hole that's in your heart. It's not you. You're going to have to fill that hole. You're going to have to love and embrace yourself and realize that you are good enough, that no one has to tell you this, that your dad's approval, that his love for you, whatever, is imperfect, and you don't need it. You want it, maybe, but it's never going to come to you in the way, even if you have it in the way that you want it, not in the completeness of it. You'll always doubt it. So you've got to figure out how to let this go. And part of it, like I said, is letting other people go, letting your dad be himself and have no strings attached, okay? Because when we make people do things for us out of obligation, there's no meaning in it. It's a meaningless act. There is no virtue without free will. Think about this. Seneca said this a lot. He said that there's no virtue without free will. It might have been, I think it was Seneca, okay? But I know at least one Stoic, it might have been Epicurus, but without virtue, without free will, there's no virtue, right? And so this is the thing. You have to realize this. And I'll tell you this, okay? Here's something to be proud of. You're your own fucking man. I mean, in my mind, I say, your dad didn't pay for your shit, good. Because you got to be, like, you have this point now, every man, okay? Well, maybe I got a man video on how to become a man. But I will tell you this, every man must slay his father. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't mean literally. I mean that he's got to sever the tie. I mean that he has to become his father. He has to take that role, that patriarchal role, if you will, okay? And he has to become that person, right? If he doesn't become that, if he's still looking for his father's approval, if he's still looking for the tribal elders' approval, and he's still trying to go out there and his father's doing the hunting and bringing back the boar, okay? And he's still in training, it doesn't work. His father has to die in battle, and he has to become the new father. He has to take that role. Now, again, this is all a metaphorical, right? This is not, but many men do not become men until their father dies, and even some of them don't, because they still are looking for their father's approval. They're still looking for that. When a man becomes a man, the moment a man becomes a man, I'll tell you exactly what that moment is. It's the moment he stops seeking his father's approval. That's the moment that a man becomes a man. So you're close. You're on the edge, my friend. Okay? You have put yourself through college. You have not needed your father's resources. He didn't have to kill the boar so you could fucking eat. You went and killed your own boar. But you're still bringing the boar to him and saying, did I do good, Daddy? Did I do good? And as long as you're doing that, you will not be your own man. You will not be a man as long as you're doing that. You have to cut the tie. Now, it might be painful. Maybe you'd love to have a relationship with your father, and you can, okay? But maybe it's not in the cards. But until you metaphorically kill your father, until you stop seeking his approval, you will not truly become a man. And many men, most men, I would say, in society today, at least in the North American society, in the Western culture, never become men. Their fathers even die without them getting the approval from their father that they want. And even if you get the approval that you want, which you never will, you will still need it. You will be incomplete. So, my hat is off to you, my friend. I say this is great. I say this is awesome. I say this is opportunity. I say that you are given a chance to become a man at a much younger age than most men, because you have this choice now in front of you. You have to decide if you're a man and you can stop seeking your father's approval, or if you're a boy and you must have this. And again, I'm not judging you, my friend, because we all go through this. This was me, okay? But I've made my choice. I've made my choice. I've made my choice. And there have been, and I will tell you, okay, I will share with you my own personal, I will tell you there have been serious consequences for me making this choice. I've lost relationships. But I will not live as a boy. I will not. And I suggest that you find your way as well. And I think you're on the path. And this is the way that you find. You will find it if you continue on this way. But it's tough. It's tough. I'm not going to say that it's not tough, but it's something that all men must go through, and you have to make this choice. And hey, look at where you are. Look at. I'll give you one last piece of advice here, which is this. Again, look on the bright side of this. So your father didn't pay for your college. Doesn't that sound better? Doesn't it sound better when you tell someone, I worked my ass through, I paid off my own stuff. No one paid my way for me. I did. There's some people that I know that would love to be in your position, because they are in the position where most people would say they're fortunate. Okay, one person in particular I'm thinking of, but his family has a lot of money, and his family pays for a lot of stuff, and so he's always struggling with the problem of, am I good enough? Could I pay my own way? Could I make it on my own? You have that question answered for you. So, go out, kill the boar, bring the boar back to your hut, roast that fucker over the fire, and become a man. Click subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Click the bell so you don't miss any videos. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.